Stand, we'll go, Lord, in the word of prayer. Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord God, we thank you so much for this day, dear Lord. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your perfect will, Heavenly Father, that brought your Son to pay the price for our sins on Calvary's cross and be reconciled to you. Heavenly Father, we pray now that you be with us. We go to our meeting, guide us and lead us, and we give you all the praise and the glory. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stats first. Have y'all looked at the minutes?
Yes, sir.
I need a motion to approve them.
Make that motion. Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Take this time.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now we go through the claims for approval. And the claims all total is $1,580,206.85. Need a motion to approve the claims.
I'll make a motion to approve those claims, but to not include the GIS director. His pay has not been approved by the commissioners. And he's not been approved as a new appointment yet.
Second. I make that second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Okay, we need to acknowledge the treasurer's report. So I've looked at it, it's acknowledged,
Yes, sir.
all right? Okay, department reports. Do what? Yeah, nope.
No. We we're going to get caught up on their COVID vaccine, they tried to them last. And the new guidelines for COVID vaccine, first and second doses, and now instead of getting those, we'll get the last booster because it covers. And that's what they do now. Plus, and it's forming out from the last booster. Last year.
Okay,
So. Also on May 18th at 6 o'clock, we're at the Oakland City Library. Before COVID, they had an Narcan program going. And it was kind of inactive through COVID. And I have activated that again. So we're gonna go and talk about Narcan, how to administer it, different nasal. Narcan. And I have been given out to the city police department. I gave it some. And the volunteer fire department outside, they came in and got some today, so. It's started.
Yeah. They shouldn't do drugs anyway.
So I just wanted, you know, mention before that the state had talked to you about the governor's. Issue, that money that we can get, they have passed, the state has passed it now, and they're trying to finalize stuff. I do want to sit and talk before you guys really make the decision on whether we get that money or not. There are, you know, stipulations and things that go along with that. It's not just getting the money, of course, and I want you guys to understand, and I'd like to talk about it with you, you know,
Okay.
when we sign September 1st is when we have to have our financial plan in, the health department's plan to use that money, because it's specifically money for the health department for that,
Yeah,
in the way that, for, things that they want us to use. So I know that, you know, yes, the money's nice, and it's, but it would be a lot more, but we just need to keep it money.
Okay.
For all. Okay,
that's it.
thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
You too.
I want to apologize for forgetting that most of the things I'm supposed to talk about at the end of this meeting. So, taking the time. I gave you guys our jail population for April. We averaged 71 males and 18 females in April, with daily average of 86. Quarterly, these numbers are no way near correct at the bottom. Looking up there, it looks like it's probably about 17 for females, with a daily average of 20. Those people who don't have it, it says we have 548 males and 63 females. Hold that back for us. So, sorry about that. It was a busy day today. I have a story to tell you about how we do things. So in April, we worked 31 property damage accidents. We worked 6 personal injury accidents, primary. We were the primary officers. There's other ones where we assisted and stuff. We did not work any fatalities. 911 calls, we had 1,614 911 calls. 98.55% of those answered within 10 seconds. I'm very proud of my dispatchers. 91% was made from cell phones. So that's 1,479. And just for a little running total, our year to date for 911 calls, 5,879. We've noticed that some of the manufacturing places, people put their phones in their pockets, and if you hit your emergency button on the side, too many times, call 911. We're obligated. We try to, whenever we have time, to chase those people down and make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
But sometimes we can't talk, and we don't want to have somebody need help and not get it. I was talking with our jail nurse. In April, we had 38 intake screenings. We took 34 sick calls from inmates and nurse, and they did 22 mental health assessments. We had 36 warrants received in April. We served 26, and right now we have 190 active warrants. We pulled 47 criminal cases. 13 of those were for thefts. We had 3 death investigations, 4 domestics, 6 drug cases, 5 DUIs, 2 sex crimes, and the rest were just other uninteresting things like trespassing and stuff like that. We had 38 traffic tickets that were written in April, mostly on county roads. And I'm glad to hear that, because we're county officers. They're state officers for other roads. So US 41 was in second place for traffic tickets, then I-69, then state roads and towns. Yesterday, we went, 12 of us from the sheriff's office with the special deputies, alumni, family. We went up and got 10 new Ford vehicles. Now, as a sergeant last year and as a candidate for sheriff, I had permission from Sheriff Bottoms to apply for the ARC degree. rehabilitate our fleet. And we were granted that. And as a sergeant, I had to be very wise on what I was doing because I wanted to set us up to win. The power of the purchaser has gone away. So when
Yeah.
you go to buy a car, they don't cut deals like they used to 10, 15, 20 years ago. The dealers and the companies have it because you got low stock and high demand. One of the people that I sent bids out to several different agencies, local and around the state. One in the state of Indiana had 120 vehicles they ordered from Ford, and 100 of those were already spoken for before I even got the ARPA grant. So whenever I was looking at those, and that was over a year before production. What I look for is the deal, who has the best service, and who can get me what I want. Service is king for me. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. So, I found an agency that would work with this. Ford, I asked for 11 cars, I only had money for 10. Ford corporate gave me 6 of what I want. If dealerships, well, I found 2 more, but there's not as much horsepower. That's fine with me as a supervisor, because I don't want Johnny Rocket out there driving Mach 10 all the time. And then we started looking for other cars, and then this guy called me back and said I found 2 more. So we got 10 cars and we brought them back. Now, a lot of people have been asking, did I consider GM or Chevy? Yes, I did, but you need to realize that I submitted this as a sergeant, as a candidate for sheriff, and I wanted to set us up to win. And I didn't want to take any chances with this money. We've got 3 Dodge Chargers in our fleet, and they've been a massive disappointment. The evidence doesn't lie. We bought one and nearly killed the deputy just with carbon monoxide poisoning. Then the other ones, the engine on the 2, multiple engines, not take that chance. Chevy works well for Princeton, and I'm watching that closely. But our coverage goes from Stoneburger to Oakland City, from Warrenton to Hazleton, and all points in between. Now, I'm not taking a chance on a newer police vehicle to the game with Chevy with my first term, especially whenever I've got a $30 million jail project that's going over. I want us to win. Now, what some people see as a luxury, but that's buying 10 cars, is actually a necessity. These cars are tools, and when a tool breaks, jobs don't get done or they don't get completed to the satisfaction of the stakeholders. And when I say stakeholders, I mean the officers, the administrators, and the public. Now, remember, 8 of these came from a government grant. While nothing is free, this is a major relief for Gibson County because it will enable us to do our job in a safe and effective manner. I just want to take this moment again to thank the ARPA committee. I want to thank the county commissioners. I want to thank the council. And I want to thank all the stakeholders. I want to thank the citizens of Gibson County for standing behind us. Any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Right. Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good news.
All right.
You could use stuff.
Yeah. Last time I was here, I found out a little foster that we needed, we got home services, had seized the dog that was really neglected. Well, we did, yay, find a wonderful foster for that dog who was willing to take all the country. Dog's gonna be fine, and if we have a family that's in the dog. And I'd like to thank Sarah Stewart here in San Juan. She was very good about the cutting us a real break on the expenses and then we explanations. So that was good news. And then moving on, another tidbit that I think is been George Pickersfield got a phone call, this has been probably a month ago, from a local veteran who was in an accident and he was in the hospital and other stuff. And he didn't really have any family available, and he finally got a hold of George and said, I am so worried about my dog. I tied my dog up on the front porch. I went for a bicycle ride, and now I'm in Evansville in the hospital, and this is Wednesday morning. I left on the scene. So George being a great place to live, bought some dog food, got some water, went over to the other house, and the dog hadn't ate or drank since Sunday. So then George called us with the animal shelter, called me. And, anyway, Mary with the animal shelter then went out to the house, turned out it was an older dog. And, the front porch was fine, it was kind of partially enclosed. And as anyone knows animals, he would tell you, going to the shelter is never a good thing. It's stressful, the dog's already missing his guy, didn't know what was going on. So they decided that, neighbors all knew the dog, and the dog was friendly, that they would just go out. So for weeks now, the shelter staff has been going to this guy's house and cleaning the porch and feeding and watering the dog. We even got a neighbor or two interested in between checking on the dog, so we think that's gonna happen. That's just one of the little things that maybe the public doesn't know that animal services does. And then finally, the main reason I wanted to come in here and talk is one of the things that the animal shelter does is at least once a year, maybe twice a year, we put on low cost vaccination clinics. So on May 20th, Princeton Vet, Dr. Price and his staff are all volunteering in the facility. Some of the staff are volunteering their time. We've been able to get vaccinations from a big pharmaceutical company. And for $20, low fixed income senior citizens can bring their dogs or cats out to the Princeton Vet. So for $20, the vet will do a very quick check in and also give them all their required shots, and it's just $20. So I encourage anyone who knows anyone that fits that category. So this and have residents only.
What's the age limit?
The age limit,
Yeah, for seniors.
they're lower in the age. We're interested.
Well, I mean, I didn't want like a 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, I don't know if it needs to be 65 or.
Oh, no. It is, we're looking at people who probably are deciding, do I eat or buy medicine or do I
Right.
dog vaccinate? Usually the feed around, which don't always go
I didn't know that.
back, yeah. So we encourage anyone who knows anyone to come out. We do ask that people call the shelter first so that they can have a rough idea of how the vaccinations that get out of the group and ready for the clinic. And then, any unused vaccinations, then on the animal coverage. So I think it's a good program and we encourage everyone to have. And seniors and low people and it's taken care of, and certainly as a health issue too.
Sharon, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Did Mary get her problem taken care of out there?
As far as I haven't heard, so I'm always.
Well, I think it was Friday, she called me and said, we got problems.
Yeah, the building is.
Yeah. But I didn't know, I told her who I would suggest calling. But I didn't know if he was still doing it or not, so.
For the rest of you, there was sewage backup in the building on Friday, so they needed to close it to the public. And none of the animals and the staff were in danger of any kind of infection, but we want to have the public out there.
Yeah,
So that's not the first time that's happening. I'm assuming that's going on around the county with all the rain and sure and what it's got. That was really good.
Mhm.
Nobody's getting one.
Yeah, okay.
Sharon, that sounds great. And just to recap real quick, that's May 20th
Yes, 1:00.
at 1 o'clock at John Feitz's.
Yeah. on,
Veterinarian.
East Broadway.
Okay.
Yep.
And seniors and low income folks are eligible? Okay.
We just need to call the shelter and have some flyers to hand out. So anyone who wants to post these, I gave some to the health department, I'm going to take them to the libraries.
We'll put one in our office.
Senior Citizen
Okay.
Center, we'll have some folks in there. So,
This is great.
try to do it in the fall.
Well, thanks to you and your board for being proactive and helping the community.
thank you, Sharon. Okay, any other department reports? And George, it's your turn.
We sent our tenth February report in back on the fifth of April. Been working with the RQAW, our staff about the solar panel. Industry. They're predicting that should save us. And only be the last part. So they're working on getting proposals put together to hopefully submit to the solar company.
Oh, good. And George, just to kind of summarize all that, the commissioners negotiated the purchase of the solar panels, when we negotiated some with Tenaska, which is now our local group is Aravon. But we're looking at probably what, close to $200,000 worth of solar improvements.
So we don't think we're going to spend all that, but we're just kind of making see how it plays out right now. But if there's funds left over, it should be with them.
Sure.
I don't know what that system's like, but you know, out there, solid waste, they put a, solar panel up there. And for a year and a half, they have not used any electricity from they have to pay a minimum,
Yeah.
but they haven't used any electricity other than what they able to store there.
So we're trying to say interest. And then also, next week, we pay pouring, some concrete pad on what they call site B. Site B is the admin building where, central dispatch will be. And, they got a machine over there now, if you drive by, it's not there now, but during the day, you would see a machine over there, and it's a rock delivery system. Actually, we're locked in one end, and then it's this arm that reaches out probably 70, 80 feet. I'm sorry. Right. So they've been using that the last couple of things to get ready for the concrete pad. So we go. That's easy. Oh, my God.
All right, thank you, George.
This, correctional office this week, as long as we.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hey, George, just a question asked here. Are they putting concrete in that dumpster out there on the road? They need to. Because reason why. Right, but you still have to have a burn around, but when they go pick that up, that roll off, they should have a steel plate there because the way it is, they should have that plate in, the roller plated, so it don't dig in the concrete, tear the base up on the concrete. And then you have to, because I know this because I work for a company, and you gotta have a berm around, because when you pick that up on a roll off, it goes like this, well, all that concrete slurry will come out and run over the back of the dumpster, and it could run down the street with contamination. So then if you have a berm, you eliminate that problem where you'll never have that.
I'll bring it to.
Thank you, George.
All right, Matt. Now, we don't have to worry about the second one, right? Because we haven't.
This is the contract I emailed you guys on April 25th. After a couple rounds, back with the dot on an agreement. There's 47 line items that I submitted for repair. Then there was another line item that I submitted that was overflow last year. The shoulder didn't get enough. There was like 11 inch drop offs, and they have agreed to pay that over $16,164.96. And shoulder company did after worked out really well. We were shouldering 850 east. But there wasn't mobilization cost on it. Perfect. So this would be for most everything, a little more shoulder stone in this year. There's some of the places, the rest of it's patchwork. Have that wheel ruts, edge breaking, alligator cracking. And it was all spray painted out there. Every one of them, they had not marked numbered. State actually went out and what I repaired, and they took what my requests were. And they actually didn't even come back with anything.
Really?
Back from what I have out there. So, total contract for the repairs is $147,568.50. And what that work is, you guys approve it, they approve it. We can sign it, execute it. We'll eventually get a check from NDOT, and then we can go do the repairs. This project's actually going faster than the City Road 65 project a couple of years ago. On that one, it took 2 years to get funding. But, maybe this happens this summer and we can get it fixed. Fall, really my hopes.
I've been getting calls about it. So,
No, I'd ask it this on, but, so yes, had for weeks. Be approved by the commissioners.
Are you 110% sure that you've got everything marked the way you want it and they know what repairs you need? Or
Yeah, I know Kenny's been through, looked at everything. Said, the kind of clean out now, it's been down for a while, still somewhat friends available. And anything that's being damaged from now to then is gonna be on us, I think.
yeah, I
so
think we got it all marked up good, so.
I so moved.
Second.
We need a motion? Okay.
We got it on the floor.
Yeah, make a motion.
You got a motion and a second.
You in favor? Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
We don't want him to sign first.
And the second item was for the community crossings contract, and we don't have that for station. They went out to the next meeting. Put that in the next one.
Hello. The awkward silence is not in. We often have to sign documents and forms and it's just like, takes time, right, Kenny?
Well,
Takes time to sign everything.
That's it.
I told her the awkward silence is not intended. It's just,
you can speak. So we got a new hire,
Yes, so I am seeking permission to hire a first level deputy office manager.
coming to us and saying, we've got a position open and, we'd like to have approval, to interview and, I think that sounds pretty exciting. Would you be open to one of the commissioners, and I'll volunteer myself for some reason, but I'll volunteer myself, but would it be okay or permissible to your group if I came in, sat in on the interviews and,
I'll
Okay.
contact you, yeah.
Okay.
I'll contact you.
well, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Just seeking permission.
I need a motion. We let her,
So move.
okay. Second. All in favor? Aye.
All right. Thank you. Lots of exciting things happening over there at Hopkins Park.
Mike Watkins, you're up next.
Yeah.
All right. Keep up the good work.
Hey, Judge Roman Ricker has come to me wanting to get an increase, temporary increase on his credit card to purchase some electronic equipment, order it and purchase electronic equipment. Would like an increase of $25,000 on his credit card. Just long enough to do that, and then it would go back. This is money that has been pre-approved by ARPA to pay for this stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's just he needs the credit card availability to place the order. So I'm asking for approval to increase his credit card just for the temporary, just for a few days.
Okay.
So move. A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah, sir.
All right, Jenna, you're next.
Jenna Rickard, Economic Development. I want to take a quick moment and just thank you all individually for taking the time and talking to you and I more about economic development and what's happening here in Dixie County, which is the ERAD. We're requesting. Already members and calendar.
Need that motion?
That motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I just wanted to comment on Tim. I know we all had a chance to speak with him.
Yes.
And a very well-rounded guy. He seemed very open to ideas and suggestions. And I brought up with him the fact that, blight removal is something that's underfunded in our county. And so we talked extensively about blight removal funding, and potentially coming to Ready 2.0, this new round of Ready, with some kind of blight removal project that would improve or help the entire county. We talked about some things like basing it on population, how many citizens or how many residents you have in your area, and funding could be tied to population. And that way to keep it kind of fair for people. And
I think all ideas are great ideas, and as we continue to learn more about radiation, it's important that we know at a time, especially that you're looking at them, and these are kind of the things on the top of your list, so that gives us a really good starting.
we'd also talked about renewables for our new ambulance station and the potential for a Ready project whereby we would acquire funds for the solar for this new ambulance base. So that would be a big asset to the county and to taxpayers too, if we could have something like that. So I think we've got a lot of ideas that are county based, and some that might even address the housing issue. At one time, I know Tammy was good enough to look up available lots in our county. And this is kind of remarkable. We had close to 1,000, granted, not all of them were all ideal situations or ideal locations, but we had nearly 1,000 vacant lots in this county that could be utilized for new housing or improvements to the housing sector. Some of them are in some pretty underserved areas too of our county and our cities. So we're pretty excited about this, or I think it sounds pretty exciting. And looking forward to working with you. And
Yeah, and we'll continue to keep you informed, just be here along the way, and so as we learn more, you guys will also learn more as well.
Well, do you, whenever we get this signed, you want this paper or?
I'd be happy to take it back with me.
Yeah, sure.
You don't need it, do you, Mike?
Send it back.
Because your name's not on it.
No, I don't.
Just give it back to her.
Thank you all so much.
thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. All right, Hannah. You're up next.
As some of you may know, a few years ago, we took over the fireworks show for my kids. You probably hadn't taken it over, I'm not quite sure. We would have taken it over the fairgrounds to find, it's a big expense. And it's really hard to raise 10 grand a year around this time of year for the fireworks show, so I was hoping that
Well, I was just commenting, Nick here. I think our fireworks show is like second to none. And I know my kids have enjoyed it for years and years, and it's pretty remarkable. It's a great place to take the blanket out and take the family out there and just enjoy a night. So tell us what's in works here. What's in store for the new fireworks show, or do we have any?
So we've been using the same vendor for the last 3 years. He's done really good, giving us what we feel is really good with the amount of money that we're raising. There's nothing new. We've just done, in addition to what the fireworks show was prior, to make sense for downtown Princeton to have it. We just call it the Freedom Festival. So we'll host a car show. Southern Indiana Car Club does that downtown. And we have some food options at the fairground and have the show. So that way it kind of makes sense, and it makes it more of our mission to have something downtown. So it's kind of a full evening and night activities.
And what are your funding sources right now? Like, are you getting funding from city of Princeton, businesses?
The city donates 1,000 a year, and then, the rest is mostly banks and small.
Yeah, different levels or anything.
Yes, and I did, I do have a paper. Guys.
You set up a collection like at the fireworks show where you can just drop money in as people come in and go in there.
Usually what we do is we charge $2 for parking, and then we use that as start for next year's.
Cause I know like in Martinsville, they have a 3.5 hour fireworks show up there. And it's unbelievable. Well, anyway, they have a little 55-gallon barrel
Yeah.
set up, because there's only one way in and a park and one way out. And people can drop money in there, you know, I mean, and that thing's full at the end of the year. That's how they.
The pallets usually starting in June, they'll have like a donation bucket in there. But anything like that, I guess.
One year. I don't think what proper level would be. I mean,
Can you tell us about the levels a little bit? Like gold level, silver, bronze? I'm just talking, Hannah.
Sorry.
I don't know what levels you have. Do anything with that or not? Be involved in that anyway?
And all this stuff's on our website too.
That would be it.
Say you should.
But for, silver is $50 to $200, gold is 500, platinum is 1,000, diamond is 2,000.
other plus. Do you know how much you got already?
$2,000, but I do come for a grant every month for you to anything or back.
You said you're using the same vendor that you've used the last 3 years. That's already arranged for this year.
Correct.
In future years, can you look at other vendors like next year?
We're pretty, I mean, I can definitely bring it forward because I can't say that I can make that decision on my own. But when we took over the show, it was during COVID and, we didn't have a lot of money and it wasn't gonna happen. And they did us a huge favor and gave us more than what we paid for. I feel like they've been really loyal to us and I feel like we need to keep that relationship strong. They're also a branch off of, we did try to go local first, if that's what you're insinuating. And they didn't want the show.
Do we have to get back with you at a certain time? I mean,
Yeah,
we need to go in with Judy and find out where we can swipe money from. But
Yeah, no, it's, obviously just before 4th of July.
but I'd like for us to help out as much as we can.
Sure.
She's got to find the money for us.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Or table?
I make a motion, we table it, and then, we'll look at our money and see what we have. Well,
I second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye,
Right.
aye, thanks.
thank you. All right. Nick Burns is next.
Nick Burns.
All right, so well, since I've been on here, what, 5 months now, I think, it's been. I noticed, heard feedback from everybody, just from all the, county, like, all the county employees and stuff, and I think it's time to try to get a, building committee with all the projects we got going on. New buildings and improvements and everything else. So I think I want to try to be more, proactive instead of reactive on things. So I like to try to, make a motion and try to maybe, start a, building committee. Consists of, 7 people. All 3 commissioners. Mike Cochran, prosecutor, and head of the appointee, and then, representative from the county council. And Mike Cochran, because that's the first building that we're needing to address right now. The prosecutor building they're releasing right now. The release is coming up within 6-7 months. So I think we need to get on the ball. I like to try to do this, try to have a, right now, get the ball rolling, try to do 2 meetings a month. can't remember what day, we was saying, with the 19th, maybe.
First meeting, we took,
We've got a council person here tonight that.
I think she'd be great, but
we're gonna try to do that first meeting on the 11th, next Thursday.
next Thursday, yes, at 4 o'clock,
Next Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Be there,
I might
Hannah?
make a suggestion on that.
Okay.
I might make a suggestion on that, like, we have the responsibility of maintaining our buildings and overseeing projects, so
Mhm.
I think it sounds like a pretty reasonable idea. My suggestion would be that we have the three commissioners, as you mentioned, and have Mike on there as an ex officio. Meaning he would be involved in all discussions and participate in some of the talks.
Mhm.
Who's that?
The Mike Cochran.
Cochran.
Oh, yeah.
Since he's got a project coming up and,
Yeah.
we gotta find something for him,
Mhm.
but I would just keep it to those four members for now, I think.
You gotta have an odd
And,
number.
Oh,
So I put Hannah on it.
Yeah, you gotta have odd.
She's the council
yeah,
member.
Yeah,
I mean, my recommendation is we leave it at three commissioners because we are, by code, we are assigned to taking care of buildings. And I'm just, I'm just afraid of getting another voice in there that's not an executive voice.
Mhm.
So that'd be my only recommendation, but of course, we want to invite people like Hannah and Mike in it.
I think Mike is, I think as we start going through our, with the buildings that we're working on, I'm saying that he doesn't have to be the whole time, however we do that, Jason. But, of course, he wouldn't be on there for a long time. It'd just be
Sure.
for while we're working on his project. I don't know what would be the right way to do that.
Ex officio, correct on that, or is that?
Yeah, I think you could name him ex officio voting, ex officio non-voting is an option if you wanted to do that. So if you wanted to go with mixed approach, you get an odd number.
I just think we have all, odd number, whatever we do. We gotta have it for voting purposes.
I'll make a motion. We have three commissioners and we have an ex officio, starting off with Mike Cochran. And then if we take on other projects, and let's say we take on a project with, I don't know, solid waste or another group, then whoever that person is would fill the ex officio role. If that makes sense.
We're getting ready to have a new humane society built.
Yeah.
So somebody like Sharon or
Right,
when we're working on that,
Yeah,
right.
we still gotta have more than 4 people.
I volunteer you.
People good at volunteering.
Just afraid if you get too many voices in there.
Yeah, but I didn't say, what is the, I don't know, what is the proper, can we do 4 or we?
Well, you can do 4. I would recommend if you're going to, you make the ex officio just non-voting, so they come and give recommendations, but they don't
Okay,
decide.
Okay.
If you're gonna have an even number like that, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care what option you go with, whether it's 3 and an ex officio or 7 and all are voting.
go with 1, whatever you think, Kenny.
I'll make a motion for the three with the ex officio non-voting.
Okay. That works with me.
Okay with that?
Yep.
Good. He
Move
did it,
that.
he did it, and didn't you? So 3
He did.
officio.
Okay, bud.
So we have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded it. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
7.
You're not George.
I know, George, deferred to me.
He's tired, ain't he?
Yeah.
He's getting old.
So just know, as long as I'm taking this is all stuff. First of all, I wanted to tell you guys about our Battle of the Badges, blood drive on May the 19th at the County Community Corrections Center from 1 to 6. We've got flyers all over Richland County. It's, basically you come in and they give you a form, are you pro police, pro fire, pro EMS, you write that down. And then whoever gets the most votes at the end of the day, is the winner for 2023, best police, fire, medic. And, you can schedule, there's time to get, make sure you get to get your blood. At Gibson County Sheriff or call 1-800-RED Cross. Now I'm gonna talk about something that's very, very near and dear to my heart. May 17th and 13th is correctional week. And then May 15th to the 19th is law enforcement week. Now I want to talk about Gibson County's fallen officers. First person I want to talk about is Harry Murphy. I believe his end of watch was April 29, 1912. He was a Southern Railroad police officer. He was shot while fixing at the police in the Southern Railroad shop there on the south end of town. Chief George Ballard was serving this last year and brought it to my attention. We were.
Thought you meant he, never mind.
He didn't get it. You can't investigate stuff when you're close. Sorry. Anyway, we're working on getting his name on our fallen officer memorial.
Yeah.
George is actually, I'll give a shout out to him. George goes to all these fallen officers. Grave sites. He went all the way to Missouri to track this guy down.
Really?
He actually trespassed. There's a warrant for him out of Missouri probably for trespass. It's on private property. He actually had to track down the owner of the property.
Yeah.
To the private cemetery. So we're gonna work on getting Mr. Murphy's recognized because he's one of the fallen officers.
Right.
And not getting into office, I want to remember who's fallen, and I had an officer. I was talking about one of these fallen officers pretty passionately, and he goes, "We don't even know this. What does it mean anything to us?" I want to remember those who have fallen because someday, God forbid, we could be one of those people. And I don't want to forget somebody who died in 1912.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget officers like Princeton police officer Harrison Hitch, who died or was a police officer from, this is a police officer. Well, yeah, the days service.
Yeah.
So he fell in line of duty, and what he did is he responded to a message in Princeton. And the suspect arrived at the ex-wife's home and said he would kill his wife and anybody who interfered. So family members called the police to there, and Officer Hitch was sent to the residence. When he tried to arrest the suspect, he fired 3 shots at Officer Hitch. One of them proven to be fatal. Officer Hitch was 51 years of age. Chicago police officer John Officer. John Officer is native to Princeton, while on patrol in Chicago, Illinois. He investigated suspicious activity at a shoe shop. On entry, he discovered 3 armed offenders robbing the agents and a clerk. A gun battle ensued, and patrolman officer was fatally wounded. He was 47 years of age. Officer from Chicago is buried on Sand Hill. And it was very touching to be there with the Chicago police representatives and remembering him. United States Trooper William Trees, while on road patrol in the Evansville District, Trooper Trees was pursuing a speeding vehicle at high rate speed. He went through Frisco and was going there. And during the pursuit, Trees was involved in a crash that claimed his life. The crash was between Francisco and Oakland City. There was 64. Trees was 28 years of age. Oakland City Officer Mike Dino. February 28th, 2000, Officer Dino was conducting a routine traffic stop on Jackson Street, suspected suspended driver. After verifying with dispatch that the driver was to be suspended, he advised the driver, Richard, he was under arrest. While attempting to handcuff the suspect, the driver pulled out a handgun and fatally shot Officer Dino. Officer Dino was 24 years of age. Gary Jed Fisher, Gibson County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Fisher suffered a heart attack while training for his new assignment. Deputy Fisher was training with his canine Titus at the Evansville FOP training camp when he started feeling, or he stated he felt ill and collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Deputy Fisher was 48 years of age. Remember, I came on, Deputy Fisher was going to be my training officer. And one of the last things he said to me was, if you ever need anything, I'll let you hesitate to call. And I tried to live that spirit. National Police Week was established in 1962 by President John F. Kennedy. And a joint resolution of the Congress, they worked together. National Police Week pays special tribute to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. Ceremonies are held in Washington, D.C. and communities across the United States. On November 22nd, 2000, the Gibson County Sheriff's Office had a dispatcher who loves law enforcement. Lisa Beaton. She's now our civil process clerk and domestic goddess and just overall pretty awesome chick, whatever. She received permission from the Gibson County Commission to erect a monument on the south side of the Gibson County Courthouse lawn. She's worked tirelessly with the Princeton FOP to raise funds and work out the details to establish the Gibson County Fallen Officer Memorial. On December 18, 2000, a monument was unveiled at a ceremony on the courthouse lawn. The monument continues to be a reminder of the Gibson County police officers and the risk of their chosen profession. So, you know, the deadliest day in law enforcement history is September 11th. 72 officers were killed while responding to the terrorist attacks. New York City has lost more officers in the line of duty than any other department, with 768 deaths. Texas has lost, Texas has lost 1,706 officers, more than any other state. The state with the fewest deaths is Vermont, 23. So I come to you guys today and ask for you guys to sign a proclamation for Corrections Officers Week. And that is May 7th through the 13th, 2023, and it reads as this: a proclamation declaring May 7th through the 13th, 2023 as the National Corrections Officers Week. Whereas the Gibson County Jail receives over 1,300 persons for commitment annually and manages an average daily population of over 120 inmates, and whereas the operations of the Gibson County Jail represent a crucial component of Gibson County's criminal justice system, and whereas corrections officers play a vital role in protecting the right of the public to be safeguarded from criminal activity, and whereas corrections officers are responsible for the safety and dignity of human beings charged to their care, and whereas corrections officers provide professional and compassionate service to the community at large, and whereas corrections officers work under demanding circumstances and face danger in their daily work lives. Asking that is therefore proclaimed by the Gibson County Commissioners of the week of May 7th to the 13th, 2023 to be National Corrections Officers Week in Gibson County in honor of the men and women who currently serve in the most honored profession. If you would, I'd like to submit that for your guys' approval.
I need a motion, guys.
Make that motion.
Second.
Favor? Aye.
Aye.
While you guys are signing that, my next is a request for a proclamation for law enforcement meeting. Whereas the President of the United States has designated May 15th as Peace Officer Memorial Day, and the week which May 15th falls as National Police Week, and whereas the members of the law enforcement agencies of Gibson County play a central role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Gibson County, and whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agencies, and that the members of our law enforcement agencies recognize their duty to serve people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception, and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of law enforcement agencies of Gibson County unceasingly provide a vital public service, what I'm asking is that therefore we, the Board of Commissioners of Gibson County, Indiana, call upon all citizens of Gibson County and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 14th to May 20th, 2023 as Police Week, with the appropriate ceremonies and observances of all of our commemorating law enforcement officers past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their community, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation of preserving the rights and security of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of Gibson County to observe May 15th, May 15th of May. 15th of May, 2023 is Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who through greatest deeds have provided, who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to the community, disabled in the performance of the duty, and let us recognize and pay respects to the survivors of these fallen diseases. All heroes. With that for your
Need a motion to,
Here's your first round. Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye. Mike didn't sign that.
okay. I know how much it is. I'll give him a chance. I'll give him all of it.
Yeah. So it's each.
Sheriff, we'd like to make, if everybody can do a moment of silence for all the fallen heroes for a minute. Thanks.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. Sure, their families are appreciative too.
I've got three medical leads need to get okay. Got all the paperwork. So need a motion to approve all three.
So moved.
Second.
Mike, please.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
President Montgomery, before you conclude the meeting, I've got this agreement for the commissioner's consideration.
Oh,
The agreement, the federal lawsuit that I've circulated, I'm asking the commissioners to approve. So, you got a copy of this. And, this has been negotiated between the parties involved in the federal lawsuit. We were represented, by myself and counsel provided to us by insurance. And, the initial complaint that resulted in the settlement agreement was asserting essentially that we were doing issuing citations procedurally wrong. We denied that, and we're not acknowledging that we did anything wrong through the settlement agreement. But this does put that to rest. It concludes the case, assuming that you approve said settlement agreement here this evening.
So moved.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. I think I signed a paper for Mike over here.
Okay. Yeah. And
I
then
think
this-
it's just a spot for mine and
This does, the assertions and the complaint that I referenced dates years ago, so nothing recent.
Okay.
I believe the previous policy was established in 2012 or something.
Yes, if not before, yeah, that'd be the most recent ordinance referenced.
okay, we have anything else?
Yes, I do have one thing. Since when the motion was made to not pay Todd, payroll has already been released, which you all received a email on that earlier, that it was released. How do you want that handled if you're not approving it?
Jason.
It's already been released.
I know we can't, I mean, I know we can't vote on it.
So I think you can, legally, you need to proceed with paying him. They've taken their position. The commissioners have through their vote, but he's obviously put in the time and has earned the income. Failing to pay him, don't think it'll be problematic.
Oh, yeah. And then,
We have no choice legally but to pay him.
right,
I mean, it's
exactly.
the action that they took earlier, and I don't think that contradicts what I'm telling you. We've got to pay him.
This would be going forward then. So who will notify him?
Who appointed it or who did the pseudo appointment?
I have, well, Kenny approved the hiring of him.
Well, Kenny approved recommending, but Kenny, he's just one commissioner. He can't approve him.
And Nick, did they not talk with you and get approval from you as well? Scott and Kim on the committee?
outside of, not on our emails or anything. Yes.
But my understanding is, I mean, I saw the emails, but my understanding is they were just saying we could offer him or look into, talk to the gentleman about the position. I think Surveyor Martin is well aware that it has to come before the commissioners.
Okay. This is showing that it's an appointment. We didn't even appoint John this year or last year. He was not appointed, so.
John is on our list or has been in the past, unless he was.
But he
The
wasn't
very first year we came in.
this
Yes.
year or last year.
I would say
appointed. So
he should have been on there.
he was removed from there for some reason, so it wasn't an appointed position.
I would say typo, but he's definitely an appointment. GIS is a separate budget and he is an appointment.
Okay. So what shall we do?
So the question that you have asked is who's going to notify
Yes.
this individual? I will-
Because commissioners were notified in February. We were looking in March. It went out the 1st of March that we were going to hire and ask for approval. Then he was hired or he came on the 1st of April. And 3 weeks into it is when all this started being questioned. So, no, that's not looking good there.
Well, and I did a little timeline on this too, because I wanted to be prepared for it. Thursday, February the 9th, John Howe turned in his resignation email. That kind of set things in motion. And that's February the 9th. February the 10th, we get an email from yourself stating that commissioners will have final review and approval. At that point, I mean, I see no need to respond or even communicate with anything because I had just taken, we'll have final review and approval. I mean, I could go on with the dates too. Tuesday, February 28th. There was an interview conducted before it was advertised. Then Wednesday, March the 1st, it was advertised. And I mean, bottom line is it is an appointment. and needs to be treated as such. And fellow commissioners, I anticipate us advertising the position and conducting interviews in the coming weeks when everyone's available.
I don't know the best way to handle this, to be honest with you. Jason, I'm kind of leaning on Jason on this.
Looking for something.
I got recommendation, but whatever you
I
guys
think we're in a
think.
position now to let, the bottom line is, our different department heads are always appointed. It's routine in our county. It's been done for years. But the other side of it is too, it appears that, that this gentleman needs to be notified, so I see no reason why Jason couldn't notify him.
I can notify him, of the decision that was made tonight.
That's what I'd recommend.
Also,
Anything else we need to cover?
So I think as I understand it, being directed to simply have a conversation with the GIS coordinator that you've worked, you're getting paid for your work. Going forward, as of right now, the commissioners have not approved the position that was offered to you. And we're working through whether or not you're going to be ultimately the selection of the commissioners.
And do we-
My intention is to keep him.
Yeah, I'll exclude the last part, but I think we just need to notify him that he was working on an interim basis apparently, with the surveyor. And he will be, as you mentioned, shall be paid. I think that's kind of where we are right now, what we can tell him. I mean, we had, sounds like, from what I gathered from the emails, and again, I'm just trying to make sense of it myself, but it sounded like we had, one candidate. And, that's kind of where his status is. I mean, he is a candidate. He's never been approved by the commissioners at this point.
One thing about it, he does have the qualifications desired to have the job, but it just needs to come through us.
I think my note or my statement earlier was due to, I wanted them to, I think we need to let Mr. Martin know some about how it needs to be done. I think if we can keep him going, but going further, if something like this happens again, I mean, I said that's where I'm lost out. I think he should keep his job, to be honest with you. I mean, because he does have the qualifications. But I think the person, I didn't, as a new commissioner, I didn't know that we was supposed to be in part of all that.
Well, and I
To be
think,
honest with you.
right, and I think that's where we've had a precedent before of interviewing folks. And, but it is our interview. I mean, that is our job and our responsibility. It is our duty to make appointments as county commissioners. And I can assure you that, that's done that way throughout every county as far as making appointments goes. If it's an appointment of ours, then we make that appointment. And it's also our duty and our obligation to hire folks. They have to go through the commissioners. I mean, like I said, it's our job. That's why we're here. I mean, we're here to make appointments for our department heads. And our job is to appoint our department heads. So, I mean, this isn't something that's new by any means. We just need to take care of our end of it And I think advertise it locally. You know, the other side of it is, I'd like for our Gibson County citizens to hear about this. I'd like for people from Gibson County to apply for the job. I don't know where this gentleman's from. Do any of us know where he's from, or I've never met the man,
You know where he's from.
or anybody know where he's from?
He's from Evansville. It was in the paperwork that I'd sent you
Vanderburgh County?
on his resume. He's from Vandenberg.
Yeah, I want people from Gibson County to hear about it and have a chance to interview for it.
I don't know what the proper solution is. Only thing I'm scared of is that it's, I know just being a business owner and everything else, especially for a specialty job like that is hard to get somebody hired, hard to get somebody with those qualifications. I don't know, personally, I don't know anybody's GIS approved, to be honest with you. I don't, but
Well, another factor to consider too, which we haven't even considered at this point, but is the position itself. I mean, you look at Pike County, you look at Posey County, they don't have GIS people. And that's a significant amount of taxpayer dollars that go into funding that position. I think we're probably going to, at this point, this is about the best we can do and give ourselves time to think about, do we want to go forward with this? Do we want to outsource to an engineering firm? You could look at saving $60,000 to $80,000 if we did that, but then also you're going to lose your in-house GIS, right? I mean, there's pluses and minuses, so I don't want to paint a,
Well, you're not gonna get an engineering firm for that kind of money.
GIS is a big.
a retainer would probably be about $20,000 for retaining a GIS group. But I'm not even suggesting that. I'm just saying, let's give ourselves time to think about it. I think the right course of action is to do exactly what we're doing, and that is advertise locally. Commissioners interview the candidates, and then.
But I want this guy to know that he's still on the list.
Oh,
You know, he's gonna be interviewed.
to
You
be
know-
honest with you, you
Sure.
probably, after all this, we're probably not gonna
Sure.
want to be a part of it, to be honest with you. I would.
He wants to be part of it. It's a good position.
I'm
And
just
I mean, the
saying.
benefits are great.
I've been saying if we started and then we stopped him, he may.
There's a
think
lot of
elsewhere.
people in Gibson County right now that would love to have this job. I'm just saying. It's a great job. What was it, 60-some thousand dollars, then you get your healthcare benefits, and it's a great position. I know.
Yeah,
What's the time frame?
just not anybody's gonna go in and take that over.
Right, you gotta
Look into this process.
Right.
Yeah, this process, what's the time frame of this? Cause I use Beacon and stuff a lot, so.
And I know that, I mean, the highway department, the health department, I mean, it's really big for us to use too, because we're setting all our septic stuff and have our own backside that we can use to see where all our septics are. Great program.
I use it daily from,
Well, the assessor uses him, so
Oh, I'm gonna tell you how I see things, what your options are. You've already acted, right? So you can stick with what you've done. Option 2 is we can table what's being discussed right now, reconvene either in an executive session if permissible or a special meeting just for purposes of this. Option 3 is you can ratify and approve what has been done thus far. So those are your 3 options. And I'm gonna need some clear instruction on what I tell this employee, this individual. Is he working?
Well, let me ask you this, who contacted this employee and who interviewed them? I mean, I know it looks like the commissioners are involved in this, but actually it's quite the opposite. You see what I'm saying? Like who has made the recommendation, who has talked to the gentleman? Because I feel like those are the folks that need to talk to him, other than you. Not trying to be different, but. I don't think it's up to our body to notify him is all I'm saying. And I think what we've accomplished tonight is going to allow us to interview in coming weeks.
I think something has to be done as soon as possible, like fast.
Sure.
Whatever, I mean, we do an executive meeting this week or next week or whatever. I just think something needs to be solved quickly. I mean, the right procedure or how we do this. Like I said,
We can't leave this.
yeah, that's my fear. I don't wanna leave him hanging when he has the qualifications.
I think,
That's the scary part for me.
I think the parties involved should communicate with him that, you are a candidate, right? You are a candidate. And, but it has to be approved through the commissioners. I mean, I don't know any way around it other than that. And we can conduct interviews as early as this week or next week.
Can he work interim until this decision is made? Should he work interim?
I would leave that, personally, I would leave that up to the department head who has contacted him and who's been in touch with them. They have their own separate budgets and they have funding for this type of thing. As a matter of fact, it's not uncommon for our surveyor's office to hire interim employees such as contractors that do ditch work, rock work and elevation work in our county. So, it's not out of question. It's not out of the norm for them to have to pay a little money for some intern work. Would you agree?
Yeah,
I mean, there's a precedent set.
certainly the budgets wouldn't be able to sustain it, yes, to support it, I should say.
I don't know. Like I said, I'd hate to leave that guy hanging like that. Be honest with you.
I know it wasn't gone about the right way,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna suggest leaving him right where he's at. That's my recommendation.
If you do that, I'll just put it out there for you to think about. If you do that, you're also setting a precedent and allowing other departments play an executive role. You know what I'm saying? And I understand what you're saying. I understand what both of you are saying. And I actually agree with the sentiment. I mean, I don't even know this guy. I'll be honest with you. I've never even seen a picture of him. I don't know, if he has dark hair, blonde hair. I don't know anything about this gentleman. The only thing I know is that this position should come through us and be vetted through us.
I agree.
And I think we can I think there's probably there's definitely, I believe, some legal support for this, some strong legal support. Otherwise I wouldn't bring it to the head here, but
Yeah. Well, we don't have any say like who Dave Pond hires,
correct.
We have no say over any other department. And, I know that's its own department.
Right.
Even though he works for the surveyor and the assessor more than anybody. So.
It is. I think you just said it right there yourself. It's a separate budget, and I think we need to be clear about that. Within our county budget, this GIS position is a separate budget from the surveyor. If he were a prospective candidate for the surveyor's office, then the surveyor could in fact talk to him, interview him and make a recommendation to the commissioners for the hire. I mean, nothing would be out of the question as far as I can tell, but it is a separate budget and I'm confident that it is a separate budget and we need to vet it. And I just don't want to see us go down that road of letting other department heads make job offers to other department heads.
I mean, but that's like Bruce, or do we get involved with that?
Well, they
I
have,
mean, we don't get involved with.
that's a little different animal to be clear. It's a little different situation. Yeah, they have their own representation. They have their own group and their own board. And it is very different from what we're doing here. And the health department is very different too. The health department has a board. Yes, and that complies with Indiana code since they have a board. So again, I don't mean any hardship for anyone. I hope it doesn't come out that way. It just, I want to make sure we do this properly. I want to make sure the commissioners have input. There was only one candidate. It was advertised after the interview. There are a lot of red flags here, guys, and I just want to make sure that we start over, do the interviews, and do this properly. I can go down to the rest of those dates. I'm just here to tell you that there's more to this story than meets the eye. And I don't like the look of it. I just think that we owe it to our Gibson County taxpayers to open it up, advertise locally. And I mean, think about it. We have what? Close to 40,000 people in this county. You mean to tell me we can't find one person for that job? I mean, if we can't, I'll be the first to tell you we can't. But
I know a lot of people, and I don't know anybody
I think they deserve a shot.
at GIS. I don't know anybody has GIS qualifications. I mean, I know a lot of people, I mean, and throughout this whole county.
And I don't want to correct you, but I
I
know,
mean, I'm just saying,
I know I've had a guy call
okay,
me about this position,
okay.
but I don't even know if he's a strong candidate, but I know there's some interest there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I know Matt.
county engineering.
He needs another.
He knows
needs
GIS.
another hat on.
He may have some buddies that, yeah, I don't know. But that's beside the point. I just want to make it available and put it out there so people know we have the opening. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, I don't know, it just, I don't know.
It's a hard one
Am I
for me.
covering my ground good enough? I mean, I don't know. I'm not against anyone. I just want to do it right. And if you want to, I mean, if you plan on changing things or putting to a vote, then I better go ahead and go through the rest of this timeline tonight. But if you want to go with advertising it and interviewing next week or in the coming weeks, so we can get on it right away, then I'm not going to go through this whole timeline. So, I mean, I'll leave that up to you, commissioners. But I think you need to hear this before you decide you want to take a vote on it.
Go ahead.
And whether it be tonight or whether it be, I can share it through the attorney later. I was just hoping to do it the right way and not have to bring all this into it.
How can we put it on the county webpage?
That's not, I don't have access to it.
Oh,
I mean, if we're gonna properly advertise, that's gonna be like 2 weeks.
You had access.
That's gonna be like 2 weeks without a GIS person.
Yeah, advertising. Well, we've been with that one for a while now. John Howe, he resigned February the 9th. That was his resignation email. So, I mean, I think we've been,
it's pretty much got to go on some kind of web page because paper comes out twice a week. You know, so the paper can get it out there. We want somebody hired before that.
right. Well, you know, here's the thing, we could put in our local newspapers
2 days a week.
and that would be a good start. We could put in the Evansville newspaper. But I definitely want it in our local. So I definitely want it on local. You know what I mean?
Magazine.
That's what I'm going after.
You talk about this guy from Vanderbilt County and
Matt, have you met this person? Do you know how he's doing?
Gibson County newspapers is fine with me. That's all I'm really after. I just thought if Gibson County people took that paper, they might want to, you know what I mean?
What about the magazine that we get, Hometown or whatever? it is?
Yeah, I mean,
comes out once a month.
that's probably not gonna work, but I mean, the other side of it is, you can't get too big a hurry. You gotta make sure you get a good candidate, so.
Yes.
Do what now?
We have a job presentation.
That'd be great. And I'll get with Judy, like I'll do some legwork on this and we'll make up an advertisement and we'll create a job description. And, you know, there was another issue with the job description. I don't know if you guys caught this or not. We used to have the GIS man come in here and do all of our videos. Well, when John, I don't know, for a little while now, maybe even before John resigned, we haven't had any help on the videos or anything. And in the job description, the gentleman's or the woman, whomever it might be, the candidate is not even required in the job description. I'm just going off of the way it's written, guys. I'm not making any of this up. It's all facts. I've got it right here if you want to see it. But the job description doesn't even have them coming into our commissioner meetings and helping Judy out. And I think that's wrong. I don't think Judy should have to do all the videos. And I mean, I can go on and on. There's a lot of things that aren't right here, but the job description is a big one. I think the GIS man should answer to the commissioner. And I read the job description. It said get this, it says the GIS man who's hired by the commissioners are supposed to be. The GIS man answers to the surveyor. We're not on there anywhere. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, I've got a couple of pages worth of stuff here that I found that's just not right or not up to par. And why would you do that anyway? You know, why would you have just one candidate? And
Who was he? I mean, it was advertised after, we said it was advertised after.
okay, you want the dates? There we go. Tuesday, I'll go back to Thursday, February the 9th, John Howe resigns. February the 10th, the day after, Mr. Watkins sends us, and that's fine. He sends us, commissioners will have final review and approval, his exact words in the email. And right or wrong, I took it like, I'm gonna have final review and approval. I mean, that's how I took it, guys. Just at the word. Tuesday, February 28th. There was an interview. This is per the auditor. I was not invited. I was not told. No one called me and said, hey, Commissioner, would you like to sit in on this? Could you get off work or could we do it maybe 4 o'clock so you could be there? Nope, not even a maybe. But keep in mind, February 28th, my question is, how did they have an interview before it was advertised? It was interviewed on February 28th. Then it was advertised on March the 1st. Guys, I'm pretty, I can read a lot of stuff. I consider myself a fair reader, but I can't read people's minds. If you want me to go on, President, I will, or I'll just, I just want you to know that I have nothing against this
It's
gentleman.
advertised.
Yes,
We're not gonna wait a month and a half to make our decision.
I agree.
We need to get it done because GIS is needed in this county. But may not see it, but
I agree. I'm not against the position, but I'm just wanting to paint a full picture of what other counties do and our possibilities. And that's the reason why we have to have a stake in it. That's why we have to have our voice in it, because I think we're responsible to the taxpayers. Fair enough?
okay, Mike. But you tell this guy to keep it, stay in contact with us because he's got the qualifications needed for this job.
So I'm the one supposed to tell him.
Who's supposed to notify them?
It's not us, guys. I will assure you that. We did not have any interviews. Not trying to be the bad cop, but it's not us.
We think, Jason.
We'll talk. Mike and I will talk. We'll get it figured out. We'll talk off the record.
So you can put that in there too, Penny, Patty, sorry.
Yes, if you give me what you want posted, I'll post it on our Facebook and our website.
Be nice to have in there that they have to be GIS.
And on our Friday email to get to
Yeah.
me or tomorrow, it'll go in there on Friday.
You do that for Mike,
What's that?
for Tammy, or
Patty.
Patty,
I will email her.
getting something rolled up for the,
No,
Prime
Okay.
time.
no, because
okay, you said you'd do it?
Warren was
I
gonna
will
do
email.
that.
Okay, all right,
Warren was gonna get the job description together for it, so.
okay.
Yeah, I'll work with Judy. I'll get it advertised locally and we'll get the word out.
Patty.
Bruce calls her prime time, so I kind of go with that.
Got it right, Patty.
Oh.
I make a motion to, let's get a motion to adjourn this thing.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.